So, welcome to the Mindset for Success podcast. And let me introduce our next guest. Brad is the founder owner of the Empowerography Podcast platform, which was created to amplify the voices of strong, dynamic, and inspirational women. And he is a women's empowerment photographer as well. Now, Brad is also a podcast coach, an editor, a 2 times international best-selling author, and a 2 times international best-selling co-publisher. So let's welcome Brad right now. And as we do that, and I get back into my Zoom, I'd just love to say a little bit about my personal experience of meeting you, Brad. And it was actually in a castle in Ireland. So I think all the best things happened in that castle in Ireland. And it was just such an absolute pleasure to meet you. And it's a rarity to really find somebody who oozes that positivity day in and day out. So it's not just put on for the cameras, but
No.
you are living it, you are breathing it, and I'm sure the people through this podcast will feel it, and your laugh is totally infectious. So I'm really looking forward to going on this little bit of a journey with you around mindset. I believe that for some people, it is much easier to have that positive mindset. Number one, it might be one of their absolute all-time strengths, positivity.
Mhm.
Number two, you might be one of those people that are born in the behavior style where the cup's more half full. You see things, people say through those rose-colored glasses. Um, and sometimes it's a choice. It's a learned, like I can be this way, but it doesn't work for me too much. Or if I choose this way, life is easier.
Mhm.
So I'd love to hear from you about when you first really discovered that you had this mindset for success and and what tools do you use to create that?
Well, that's quite a question. But first of all, I want to start off by saying thank you so much for having me here on your platform. I'm absolutely honored to be here with you. And I have to second your mention about meeting you in person in the castle in Ireland. It was an incredible experience. And, you ooze such incredible kindness and charisma, and your personality is infectious as well. People are drawn to you, and I was one of those people. I think we connected pretty quickly when we were in Ireland, and it was an absolute pleasure and honor to meet you. And I'm just so grateful to be able to call you a friend and to have you as a friend and to have you as a member of the Empowerography community. It's an absolute honor. So, with that being said, your question. Um, I agree with you. I think some people are just born with that attitude. I don't, I think it was for me, I think it was something I learned. Well, I think as a kid I was pretty positive, but getting into the corporate world, I think that balloon was deflated for me. Um, I worked in corporate for 12 and a half years at an accounting firm, and I have to say the first 6 years of that career were absolutely incredible. I was happy. I loved going to work. And it got to a point for me where I it absolutely deflated me going into work. I hated going in. I did not like my job. I did not like my boss. We didn't get along. There was a lot of other stuff, outside forces that contributed to that change in my attitude about my work. And I can remember sitting there in the last 6 years of my career there, and all I could think about was my photography business because I've been a photographer since I was 17, quite a while. And all the while I was working in corporate, I was running my photography business on the side. And all I could think about was leaving that place and running my photography business. So it wasn't always there in me. I think once I jumped into entrepreneurship, it was a bit of a struggle, I'll admit, for the first 2 years, with all of the things that come up around mindset, imposter syndrome, all of these things. I struggled with all of them. I'm going to be completely honest. It wasn't an easy journey. There were times where I wanted to throw in the towel and give up because I thought I'm not where I should be. I was comparing myself to other photographers. And so all of these things played a part. But once I got on the path and I got a mentor who helped me along the way, that just shifted something in me. And it was a choice. I could either give up and go back to corporate and be miserable, or I could continue on the path and look at things through a different lens, look at things positively. And that is a constant work too. Be, it can't be puppy dogs, rainbows, and ice cream 100% of the time. There's going to be days where we do have bad days. But I think that having gone through what I went through, having gone through that first 2.5 years of my entrepreneurial journey, struggling, I think I learned to, when those things do creep in, turn the volume down a lot quicker and recover and move forward. So, I mean, you do. We all have a choice. We have a choice. You can either be miserable or you can be happy. So why would you want to spend your life being miserable? That's part of why I left corporate. Why would I want to spend my life miserable working at a place I didn't want to be and be unhappy all the time? Because not only does that affect you, it affects the people around you.
Mhm.
So why would I want to do that? It is a choice. So I chose, after I got through those struggles, to shift my mindset and be more positive and look at things differently. So I think it's very important. It's the key. It's one of the keys to being a successful human, being a successful entrepreneur, all of these things, it all plays into it.
I really loved what you were saying, Brad, about, you know, not feeling passionate where you were. And, it was uncomfortable going in.
It was.
And I quite often, would say if we ended up with someone on our team, generally in a
Mhm.
growth period, the team would need to bring on some extra people. And sometimes you'd get someone that wasn't really the right fit.
Right.
And, it was really good to be able to have those conversations because if someone's not happy at work, and, if you're listening to this and you're not really happy where you are, just remember you'll be affecting the other people there and the office. And so it's a really good time to have that conversation with yourself if your boss hasn't picked up on it yet. Um, is this the place for you? And if it's not, you know, don't stay there. There is so many things that you can do in the world that, making yourself feel a bit miserable and others feel miserable isn't healthy for anyone. And so it was great, Brad, that you recognize this and you recognize your passion. We were talking earlier today about I love these full circles. When you were young at 17, you loved taking photos. It was your passion. So while you're struggling here in your mind, there's this vision. But when you jumped into it as an
Mhm.
adult entrepreneur for the first time running your own business, and I'm sure it's still a little like this because that is the journey of
Yeah.
an entrepreneur, right? It's never just straight up. Sometimes we have to
No.
come down. So how do you get yourself back up? And do you ever feel lonely working by yourself? Or how do you motivate yourself?
Yeah, I mean, it does entrepreneurship, solopreneurship, whatever you want to call it. It can get lonely. Of course it can because we're siloed and we're working, most of us who are solopreneurs, on our own. We have interaction through the computer with our communities and our all of that stuff. But I think, well, for me, I guess about 2 years ago, um, I started tapping into 3 years ago now, I guess, 3 years. I started tapping into more of my spiritual side of things. And I'm not a religious person. I wasn't spiritual. I just did Brad. I was just doing my thing and started tapping into my spiritual side. And then about 2 years ago, I created or came up with an idea to start what I call my MMJ practice, my movement, meditation, and journaling. That's my MMJ practice. And I try my best to do it every day. Of course, there are times where I go like gangbusters and I stay on the path. And then of course things happen, life happens, and we fall off the path. But it's about getting back into that. So that really, I find that really helps me a lot because I do notice a difference when I'm not in that practice. I notice I can feel it in my body. I can feel that I'm not who I normally am. So it's about giving yourself, I think, grace and space around the fact that we are going to fall off doing things sometimes and to be gentle with ourselves about that, but also to remember to get back into that practice. If that's what makes you feel good, if that's what helps you to stay on track, stay focused, keep you from getting into those low points, because they are going to come. We're human beings. We are constantly growing and evolving. So we are changing always. So of course we're going to have our days where we don't feel 100%, and that's okay. Remember to give yourself grace and space around that, that the next day is another chance. It's another opportunity to better yourself, to do better, to get better, all of these things. So staying in that practice has helped me huge, tons. And I have to say, my community is a huge piece of that. For me, when I think about entrepreneurship, when I think about life, community is the foundation for all of it. Surrounding yourself with like-minded people, with friends who support you, with your cheerleaders, with your super fans, that is absolutely key to have that support system, that community in place. And I would say that's the biggest piece for me. That and my MMJ practice, those are the two key things to keep me focused, to keep me grounded, to keep me up here. But again, remember, it's not always going to be up here. There are going to be times where it's not, and that's okay. But remember to give yourself space and grace around that.
Wow. And this is really interesting. I love your MMJ practice because in this series, nearly everyone has mentioned gratitude. And the theme for a lot of the people that I've been speaking with and the ones that are, gone on to be billionaires and nearly there, uh, is the fact that they really practice this gratitude, and they do have faith. They do have the spiritual side. So to hear that the last few years, you've really started to delve into this is quite interesting as well. And I know at the castle, it can't help but have an spiritual uh, vibe, when we were in Ireland, because there are so many people that have walked before us, where we were, that we weren't journeying alone. I know that.
Yes, absolutely. It was a magical experience, truly. And for me, the best part of the entire experience was meeting you, meeting all the people that were there. That was the absolute, hands down, best part of that experience for me, is meeting all the incredible people like yourself.
Like you said, it's creating that community, that
Mhm.
like-minded people. And they often say, who is in that top five, who is cheering you on, who who is a support person when perhaps things aren't going so great. You can reach out and you can
Yeah.
fill your cup up again. You're one of the very few that have mentioned mentor, and I know that all of them have had mentors. And how important is it to have that mentor in your life? So do you still have a mentor, or is there just someone that when things aren't going right, what would that person do?
Yeah, at the moment I don't have a mentor, but like you said, I think it's incredibly important, and I'm grateful that I had him so early on in my entrepreneurial journey with my photography work, because he helped me to see things differently. He helped me to he was a huge part. He played a huge part in shifting my mindset, because I was, like I said, I was stuck in that competition mindset, and I was also not in the mindset then of being in and of service, which I think is another very, very important thing that we all need to take into consideration, and live that mantra, being in and of service to one another. When I first started, I was looking to partner with other businesses, to collaborate with them, to work with them. And I was going into these businesses to have conversations with the mindset of, what am I going to get out of this? What's in this for me? So we talked about that. And I said, Brad, you're doing it all wrong. You cannot go into places with that attitude. You have to go in there with the mindset and the attitude of, what can I do to help you? How can I help further your business? What can I do to support you? And I'm telling you, Kath, that little bit of advice was the one of the best pieces of advice I've ever received, because it completely shifted things for me. When I shifted that little thing to be in and of service to others, my whole world opened up. I was connecting with businesses, we were partnering, collaborating, and I've carried that forward into building my community for the Empowerography platform and podcast, and it has served me so well. That little bit of information is invaluable. And I would urge everyone to delve into and adopt that mindset of being in and of service to others. That, in my opinion, that's part of why we're all here on this planet, is to be in and of service to one another, to lift each other, to cheerlead each other, to support each other. That's why we're here. So it was a huge shift for me. Mentorship. I am so grateful to that mentor that I had, because he shifted everything for me. And funny enough, I stopped doing the photography for quite a while. I'm just getting back into it now. It'd been a couple of years, and I hadn't spoken to my mentor in quite a while. Like, it had probably been, I would say, a good 2 to 3 years. I reached out to him this week. Or was it this week? No, last week. Sorry, last week, just to say thank you for that little bit of advice, because I thought, you know what? He helped change the trajectory. He helped shift my mindset. I thought I have to reach out to him and say thank you. And he was so grateful that I reached out. And it's that, things like that. Express your gratitude for everything in your life, and be thankful for the people who have helped you, because you wouldn't be where you are without the help of others. I cannot stress this enough. We cannot do this alone. We have to have a community. We have to have like-minded people. We have to have a support system around us. It is impossible to do it by yourself.
And how great to actually reach out and thank them for that specific thing. Because you know what? When people thank you and let you know where you are of value to them, then it also sinks in you. And he knows, right, the next person, I've got to make sure that I keep on track with this service.
Yeah.
Because I absolutely 100% agree with you and everyone we've spoken to. When you're in service and you're not spending the time on thinking about you, how you're going, how you're going to get business, how all this is going to happen, life changes when we're
Yeah.
here to serve others. And when you said you believe that's why we're on the planet, that's exactly what I said this morning. Because we are here to be of service to others. And I know when you said you've got an idea coming up and you'd love if I'd be able to help that, I'm just like, yes. And
Yeah.
then when leading ladies lunches comes on, and we're speaking about that at the end of each month, I reached out to you because
Mhm.
I know your service heart as well, and this is where we can add so much more value. Hi, I'm Kath Malloy. I'm an author, speaker, and trainer. And I'm here today just to let you know about the Million Dollar Handshake. So, this book came out by Hachette in 2018, and very quickly it made it to the Business Book of the Year in UK for Seven Dials, and Orion Books. Actually, they published Harry Potter, they picked it up and they bought the international rights. And since then, it's been released in different languages. So this is for Taiwan, Hong Kong, Macau. This is in Vietnam. A girlfriend walked past the bookshop and she said, "Kath, your book's there." So they bought the international rights as well. And we're so excited because we're going over to work there in 2024 in Vietnam. And of course, we've got the wonderful Australian version that was put out by Hachette Australia and New Zealand. So we react before we speak, and this is one of the biggest problems that we have in business and in life today. And so this book is helping actually work out how we can stop that miscommunication, how we can be more present in the situations, and how we can create more win-wins in our life. We've even got this little tiny Indian version because it's nice and light for the backpacks. So if you would like to create more win-wins in your life, then we would love you to pick up a copy of the Million Dollar Handshake too. Speak soon. Because of what you do in your world and the way that you are wanting to lift women up, you're actually creating a shift in their mindset. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
It's funny. I was just talking with a friend yesterday about this, and she says, you don't even realize the incredible impact you're having through the work you're doing around the world. And I said, you're right. I don't, because I don't look at it that way. I just go with and do what I do because that's just part of who I am. I don't think about it in terms of the impact. And she says, you need to take time to go sit in your favorite place. I have a park that's not too far from me, and I always go and sit there. There's a park bench I sit on, my favorite bench in my favorite park, and I meditate. She says, you need to, whatever it is, wherever it is, go there and sit and let it sink in as to the impact you have around the world. You're not just impacting the people that you directly interact with, you're impacting the people in their lives and the people they come in contact with. And so it's this massive ripple effect you're having. And I don't really take the time to slow down and think about that. And I really should. I absolutely, Kath, with all of my heart and soul, love what I do. And I know that I was put here to do this. I don't have a choice in this. This is my mission. This is my purpose on this planet. So I don't look at it that way. I don't think about it that way. And I guess maybe I should take the time to slow down and realize and let it sink in that the work I'm doing is important and it is reaching people and it is having an impact. But and I think a lot of us do this, we just do the thing and keep going. Okay, I've done this. Okay, on to the next thing and on to the next thing. And this is something else I've noticed too, and I'm conscious of it with myself. We don't take the time to celebrate our wins. We don't take the time to slow down and celebrate them and enjoy them. I got no problem celebrating everyone else. I always that's that's just what I do. I celebrate my community's wins, my friends' wins. That's what I do. I don't take the time to slow down and celebrate my own. And I need to take a page from that book and do that and sit with things and realize that, what you're doing matters and it is having an impact.
Yeah, that's great to hear, Brad, because when we do set goals, and let's face it, this was a dream, it was a passion, it was
Mhm.
something that you loved when you were young. And
Mhm.
the people that I find that are most successful, they're doing something that they love, that they were passionate
Yeah.
about. It's like a full circle when you're actually doing what you love doing as a kid. And I know when I got a horse when I was 55, and
Mhm.
I found a horse when I was 16. I've never had a lesson in my life. I just jumped on it and just rode it forever. And
Mhm.
we were just best mates. And to be able to have that again in my life, it was like, wow, when we were kids, we had a place in Brisbane, which is where I am now. We've got an apartment here and a farm on the Sunshine Coast. And here I am as an adult, with the place in Brisbane, the farm on the coast. I love travel. I always traveled. I spend my life traveling and back with my horses. And we're just, I was going to say luck, labor under correct knowledge. You
I love
really,
that.
anyone that's listening, people go, Kath, you're so lucky. I'm just thinking, no, I've worked bloody hard, and
Yep.
I have that mindset for who am I? What makes me happy? And
Mhm.
you knew that taking photos made you happy. And because you're happy doing it, you make so many other people happy doing it. And I think this is one of those big success things and those moments in life where you realize when you were doing what you love,
Mhm.
life loves you back.
Yes,
And
100%.
you can share so much more joy with others and encourage them to be living their passions as well. It's such a short time we have on this planet.
Yep.
And I believe as a
Absolutely.
child, we're shown so much, whether it's we love swimming in the ocean,
Mhm.
dancing in the grass, walking
Riding
out on
horses.
cars, riding horses, whatever it is, we must still have that in our life. And sometimes we've got to do a job to earn the money to do
Yeah.
those things that we love. So while you are doing that job, just remember it is getting you to those places that you want to go as well. So I loved that as a kid, whistle while you work. And my dad was always whistling no matter what he was doing. And,
Yeah.
there's some beautiful things from Disney, as we know,
Mhm.
that put that little spring in your step. So I think it's really important that we keep doing something that we love.
Absolutely. It's key. I mean, I was just talking about this yesterday with someone. We spend so much time in our lives working. Why wouldn't you want to be doing something that brings you happiness, that makes your soul sing, that makes your heart sing? Not something like what I experienced, and I'm sure tons and tons of people experience it, a job you absolutely hate going into every morning. When you think about it, if you're in that space where you hate your job, you don't want to be there, you're there 5 days a week. let's say on average, you work a 40-hour work week, you're there 5 days a week. You are essentially living for the weekend, living for 2 days because you're pissing away five because you're miserable. You don't want to be there. So Monday rolls around. Oh, I can't wait till Friday. I can't wait till Friday. I can't wait till Friday. Sunday night rolls around. Oh shit, I got to go to work on Monday. I don't want to be there. You're throwing away 5 days a week. Multiply that by however many weeks, there are 52 weeks in a year. Multiply that by how many years you're working in a job you hate. Think of all that time that you've wasted. Find what lights you up. Find what sets your soul on fire. Find what makes you happy and do that. Find a
Yeah.
way to do it.
And find a way to maybe even just change the way you think about something. So
Mm-hmm.
recently, I was working with a team in a dental surgery. So, they've got a massive practice and they've got a sales team. And anyway, I was with them.
Mm-hmm.
And, I said, you change people's days, like one smile at a time. Because
Yeah.
I know people that didn't even want to smile because they didn't like their teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so many adults today getting their teeth done. And I had some of them in tears at the table when they really realized what they do each day. And sometimes it might just take somebody else just setting off that heart space again for what you do, because we do become closed, we do become bored, we stop thinking of the positive things in our
Mm-hmm.
job, and we do start to think of the more negative things. It's a natural human condition, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for
How
sure.
dare you be happy with your lot in life? Let's change that. Um,
Yeah,
so I do also believe that you can change the way you think about something, because
for sure.
every job has its good parts and every job
Mm-hmm.
has its, you know, down parts. So
Yeah, absolutely.
sometimes if we can just change the way we think about something,
Mm-hmm.
that can change.
For sure. Absolutely. I mean, look for something that brings you joy in your job. And again, if you're that miserable there, change it. You are the only one who can make the change. No one else is going to do it for you. No one else can do it for you. So be your own damn superhero. Get off your ass and change the channel. If you don't like what you're watching or what you're listening to, change the channel. You're the only one who's going to do it. No one's going to get up and do it for you. So you need to do it yourself. Because if you don't, you're going to stay where you are and you're going to be miserable. Or, like you said,
Yeah.
just that little shift to look at things differently. Find something good in what you do. And
And
you have to do it.
don't
No,
wait for someone to believe in you.
no.
Just believe in yourself. You've got this, whatever it is that you are wanting to do. So, Brad, there's a few things that you've mentioned, um, getting a mentor, looking up to, who do you look up to? What do they do? Um, Ask some questions. Have a look at your MMJ. I think that's great, and writing that journal. What are you grateful for? We do know this makes a massive difference. What would be a couple of other tips that you would like to share right now before I move into the roll of the dice, Brad?
The movement, getting outdoors, moving your body, listening to your body. When it's telling you that, you don't feel like doing something, listen. It's okay to have days where you don't do anything. You have to look after yourself. Someone said to me the other day that you have a cup and a saucer, and when you fill your cup and it overflows, the stuff that overflows into the saucer, that's what you have to give to others. But you keep your cup full because that's for you. So don't give too much. Be aware of what you're giving. Have the self-awareness. Believe in yourself. And I'll say it again, community and support. That is absolutely key. That's the foundation for all of it. So make sure that you surround yourself. You don't have to have 1,000 people that you can rely on. Like you said earlier, 5 people that you know that you can count on that will be there for you, but also you got to be there for them too. So it's give and receive. Learning to receive is another huge thing. And that's a lesson I'm learning now myself, is learning to receive, because when you don't learn to receive, you're breaking the cycle of giving. So you have to learn both. Um, so those are the things, but absolutely hands down support, having a support system, having a community in place is the key, 100%.
Now, I love that. Thank you, Brad, for all your knowledge that you've gathered over these years, for empowering so many other women and encouraging that positive mindset for them as well. And so now you get to make a choice. Which dice would you like me to roll?
Let's go with the red one.
The red. Oh, why red?
Stands out. It just grabbed my attention right
Is
away.
it
When I saw the
faster?
three of them, what's that?
Is it faster?
Yeah, yeah.
Number two. Is number two your lucky number, Brad?
No, 10 is actually my lucky number.
Oh, we don't have a dice with that,
That's
so
okay. That's all right.
that's all right. All right. So number two, here's your card. How does embracing failure, this is interesting, how does embracing failure shape a successful mindset?
Embracing failure?
Failure.
I think that, and someone shared this with me about a month ago. We have to make friends with failure. Failure is part of the journey. This is how we learn. And if you look at it in a way that there are no failures, the only failure there is giving up. Don't give up on what you want. If you don't get something you want or things don't turn out the way you want, then shift a little bit, figure out a different way to do it, come at it from a different angle. But don't look at failure as a bad thing. I think failure is a great thing because that's how we learn. The only failure there is giving up. You never know how close you are. You never know. It brings to mind a meme where there's two gentlemen in a mine. They both got pickaxes and they're going different ways. And the gentleman on the top is almost there. You could see in the meme, the diamonds are right on the other side. And he throws down his pickaxe and gives up. You could be that close to achieving what you want to achieve. So don't give up because that's failure. Failure teaches us things. Make friends with failure. It's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. So I think that having that mindset will help you get there, I believe.
And how many times did you feel like giving up when you were starting your business?
Countless times, because I was stuck in that competition mindset. I was always thinking, I'm not where I should be. Look at this photographer. They're this far in their career and they've been doing it this long, and multiple times. And it's normal, I think, when you first start, because it's hard. Entrepreneurship is not for everybody, and it's not an easy journey. I think aside from being a parent, entrepreneurship is the next toughest thing in the world because it will test you, it will stretch your muscles, it will show you muscles you didn't even know you had. It's hard, but it is so rewarding. I would not trade it for anything in the world. It's an incredible experience because you grow so much and you learn so much about yourself that you had no idea. So I think it's incredible.
Well, congratulations, Brad. And I'm glad that you consistently push through to that next side because you have developed those muscles. You have grown that and you know what it takes to have that mindset for success. So I'm going to pull a card now as we wrap up, just to leave everyone with a quote for the day. Let's have a little bit of a look what this one says. And it would be great if I had my glasses here. Maybe I'll have to give it to you to read.
You can hold it up, Kath. I'll read it.
I
If I
might
can
have
read,
to.
if the
It's too late at night for me.
Oh my gosh.
Can you read that? Hang on.
There we go. There
There
we
we
go.
go.
Right there. Right there. To accomplish great things, we must not only act, but also dream. Not only plan, but also believe. Of that.
Oh, I
That's awesome.
love that. Can you just
Yeah.
say that again, Brad? Can you repeat that again?
Yep. To accomplish great things, we must not only act, but also dream. Not only plan, but also believe. We do. We have to dream. We have to.
How fantastic. You see, it takes a team sometimes
Yes,
to
it
get the
does.
outcome.
We just proved it, Kath. Teamwork makes the dream work, as they say.
And usually, I have no problems, but because it's now midnight and I got up at 5, my eyes are just like, oh, you need to go to
No
bed.
problem.
But
I got you.
thank you so much, and thank you for sharing today. And to everyone out there, keep smiling, stay positive. Till next time.